It is 1975. Snow falls heavily as a lone girl named Solwa struggles through the cold night until she finally collapses. Just as the snow begins to cover her, a car pulls up and rescues her. She is taken in by a married couple who run a small hamburger stall. They feed her, offer shelter, and ask where she is headed, but Solwa has no answers. With nowhere else to go, she is given a place to stay and unpaid work at the stall. Ryu, the owner, insists it is only temporary help. Years pass. Solwa remains quietly working there. One day, Ryu returns after being away for some time. Solwa questions him about his mysterious job. He brushes her off, saying only that he kills insects. Later that day, Ryu's wife arrives with several American soldiers. One of them talks casually with Ryu, but keeps a watchful eye on the kitchen. That night, the same soldier sneaks back in and tries to assault Solwa. She fights back, but he overpowers her. In the struggle, she grabs a metal rod and drives it into his body, killing him instantly. From then on, they called her the old woman with a knife. Hours later, Ryu walks into the wrecked stall and finds a body. Solwa begs for forgiveness, afraid she will be cast out. Ryu remains calm and tells her not to worry. After all, she was simply exterminating pests. From that moment, her life changes. Ryu trains Solwa to become a hitman. Over the years, she completes mission after mission, and her reputation grows with each job. Cut to the present day. On a train, an old man accuses a pregnant woman of faking her condition just to get a seat. The disturbance spreads through the car, reaching where Solwa sits calmly reading a book. On the page is a photo of the old man. Without hesitation, Solwa prepares a poison hair stick. As the train lurches to a stop, she strikes. One stab, then she slips off the train while her target begins to convulse. Later, in a restroom, Solwa rinses her weapon, but suddenly her vision blurs and she collapses, shaken and disoriented. Meanwhile, Kim, a manager from her agency, arrives at a building. An old woman pleads for help, but Kim passes by without a glance. Inside, Cho-yob and Jang-bi wait. Kim gets straight to business and assigns a new mission. However, when Jang-bi hears what it involves, he refuses. The target goes against their core beliefs, and Jang-bi will not cross that line. That night, Solwa was walking home when she noticed a stray dog on the sidewalk. She glanced at it briefly, but kept moving. Back at her apartment, she removed her disguise, collapsed onto the couch, and turned on the TV. Even though her hand trembled from illness, she forced herself to write her mission report before going to bed. Some time later, she suddenly woke up, haunted by the image of the dog she had ignored. Before long, she found herself at the veterinary clinic. Dr. Kong stepped out after surgery, and just as he was about to leave, he stopped her. The dog was old and would not be accepted into a shelter. Kong asked her to care for it temporarily. Meanwhile, at a container port, a young man named Do-young was brought into an illegal organ trafficking den. Instead of fear, he showed determination and began bargaining for payment. When the gang leader, Ku, offered a price, Do-young rejected it and immediately attacked. One by one, he took down the gang members with brutal precision. When only Ku remained, Do-young declared that he was there to make a name for himself, then killed him as well. After the job, Do-young escaped in a stolen gang car, but Kim, from the agency, had been tailing him. Do-young disappeared, only to suddenly reappear and slam into Kim's vehicle. Impressed, Kim offered him a position in the agency. The next morning, Solwa headed to the mountains for training. Afterward, she returned to the agency, where an old woman was still pleading for help to avenge her son. Everyone inside stood as Solwa entered. She was the agency's top assassin. Kim tried to speak with her, but she walked past him and went straight to Cho-yob to hand over her report. When Solwa asked to take the old woman's file, Cho-yob stopped her. That mission had been denied by Kim. Instead, Cho-yob reminded her about her upcoming medical checkup. Elsewhere, Kim met with Do-young again to recruit him, but Do-young refused and tried to walk away. Kim pressed harder, only to be threatened at gunpoint. The standoff ended when Solwa appeared, silently ready to strike from behind. Later, Solwa met with her doctor. He mentioned her trembling hand, but she denied everything and demanded that he keep it confidential. Without another word, she walked out. Meanwhile, Jang-bi was on assignment targeting a woman known for scamming the elderly. He kidnapped her and forced her behind the wheel. That night, near a railroad crossing, Jangbi knocked her out and set the car on the tracks. Just before the train arrived, a schoolgirl suddenly appeared. Her presence unsettled him, reminding him of his daughter. As the train crashed into the vehicle, Jangbi realized the girl was a stranger, but someone had witnessed everything.
아빠!
은호야. 아빠 아니야.
The next day, Solwa stops by a store. On the TV, news breaks about Jangbi's recent attack, now under police investigation after a witness came forward. Meanwhile, Do Young is on a mission of his own. He enters a CEO's office, posing as an ordinary guest, then disappears only to reappear behind the man and deliver a clean, sudden kill. Back at the agency, Kim and Cho Yob watch the news about Jangbi's case unfolding. Solwa calls in calmly and volunteers to handle the situation, and Kim agrees. Cho Yob tries to object, but before she can say anything, Do Young walks in carrying evidence from his last job. Kim is clearly impressed. That night, Jangbi visits the urn holding his daughter's ashes. Solwa arrives quietly, but a misstep gives Jangbi a chance to fight back and escape. He speeds away, checking his rearview mirror, until Solwa crashes into him from the side, flipping his car. She moves quickly, assuming he is dead, but Jangbi fights back. A brutal struggle follows. Solwa lands the first blows, but Jangbi's strength soon turns the tide. Just as he is about to finish her, Do Young arrives to intervene. Kim sent him as backup. Solwa is furious. She attacks Do Young for interfering with her mission. Do Young dodges her assault without a word and walks away. As Solwa approaches the bleeding Jangbi, he flashes back to memories of his daughter. Without warning, he seizes her weapon and does the unthinkable. Solwa stands silently, grieving the loss of someone who had become like family. Later, weakened by blood loss, Solwa sits in her car. She sees a vision of Ryu before crashing into a trash bin and losing consciousness. While unconscious, she recalls a past mission with Ryu to clear out gangsters. But when they returned, Ryu's home had been destroyed. His wife and child were found murdered inside. She wakes up in Dr. Kang's veterinary clinic. Disoriented, she grabs a broken IV bottle and threatens him. When she realizes he is only trying to help, she lowers the bottle and quietly leaves. Once recovered, Solwa storms into the agency and confronts Kim. She demands to know why Do Young was sent and accuses Kim of betraying the organization's values. After a heated exchange, she turns her back and walks out. Outside, Do Young waits for her. He already knows she was treated by Dr. Kong and says the vet should be eliminated. Solwa instantly draws her weapon and warns him to stay out of her affairs. That night, after hours, Do Young sneaks into the agency's file room. He opens a cabinet and finds Solwa's personnel record. As he reads, he discovers with shock that she is the one who killed his father. Everything he has done until now has only been a cover to uncover the truth. A few days later, Solwa follows Dr. Kong as he drops off his daughter, Haini, then heads to a protest at the hospital. She trails him home and learns from his mother-in-law that his first daughter died because of medical negligence. As Solwa leaves, Kong arrives and tries to catch up. They confront each other in the street. She's ready to strike, but Kong offers to treat her illness if she avoids hospitals. Solwa then lowers her weapon. Kong walks away but soon runs into Do Young, who immediately senses that Solwa has spared him once again. Meanwhile, Kim and Do Young meet on a rooftop, overlooking the city as they discuss the future of the agency. Kim expresses his desire for a new generation to take over. He mentions the agency's founder, Ryu, who once faced a gang alone after losing his wife and child. After Ryu's death, Solwa went on a killing spree that made her a legend, but Kim believes her time has passed. Later, Solwa encounters Kong and Haini at a park while walking her dog. They exchange a few words and invite her to join them for lunch. During a quiet meal, Haini pleads with Solwa to attend her dance recital. At first, Solwa declines, but after some insistence, she agrees to consider it. The next day, Do Young visits Kang's clinic. His strange questions raise suspicion, and when he pulls out a rope, it becomes clear that something is wrong. Just as he is about to act, a woman arrives to have her dog checked, forcing him to back down. Later, Do Young visits Kang's mother-in-law's fruit stand. Solwa spots him and confronts him about why he is targeting Kang's family. Do Young dismisses her concerns and mocks her for letting Kong live. He then walks away, making it clear his plans are not over. That night, Solwa recalls her final moments with Ryu. After his family was murdered, they parted ways. He gave her a weapon as a parting gift. She almost used it to end everything but stopped herself. The next morning, outside the hospital, a small explosion erupts from a trash can, startling Kong and those nearby. Suddenly, the hospital director is struck and collapses. Kong immediately realizes it was a setup. Later that afternoon, Kim gives Solwa a new file. The next target is Dr. Kong. Shocked, Solwa demands an explanation, but Kim refuses to reveal the client. That night, she ambushes Choyob outside the agency, demanding answers. Under pressure, Choyob admits the client is the hospital director's son. He believes Kong is responsible for his mother's death and paid a large fee for the hit. However, Choyob grew suspicious when she noticed the man's watch. Her investigation uncovered something else. Soon after, Solwa confronts the man at an underground gambling den. Pressed, he admits someone gave him the orders over the phone. The voice on the other end belongs to Do-young. When Solwa calls, Do-young answers without fear and warns her that Kong is already on his way home. She immediately rushes out. Solwa races up the stairs at Kang's apartment. Along the way, she remembers the last time she saw Ryu, broken and dying. Finally, she reaches the door just as Kong steps out to get food. He is shocked to see her there. For the first time in days, Solwa feels a moment of relief, knowing he is still alive. A few hours later, Solwa and Do-young sit across from each other in a coffee shop. She asks what he really wants. Do-young admits that he has spent his life chasing the legend, and now, he just wants to do things that truly matter. Just then, a customer enters carrying a bouquet. Do-young flinches, clearly allergic. Solwa notices his reaction and suddenly remembers that there was a child with the same allergy. Back at home, Solwa searches through her old mission files. She flips through page after page until she finds the one she is looking for, the assignment where she posed as a housekeeper in Do-young's family home. She recalls the moment clearly. One morning, as Do-young's father was preparing to leave for work, Solwa moved in to complete her mission. But before she could act, young Do-young opened the door and saw everything. Now, in the present, Solwa tells Kim that she is going after a gangster stronghold he has long ignored. Kim hesitates, warning her that a solo raid is a death sentence, even for someone like her, but he does not stop her. That night, Solwa infiltrates a nightclub and confronts the gang leader. She makes her move, but he fights back fiercely. Backup arrives quickly, forcing Solwa to flee under heavy attack. During the escape, she calls Kim for support. He refuses to risk Do-young's safety and tells her to handle it on her own. Outside the door, Choyob overhears everything. With no backup coming, Solwa faces the gang alone. She fights through dozens of attackers, but eventually takes a brutal hit and falls. The gang drags her away to be buried alive. Before they do, the leader calls Kim to taunt him, but Kim hangs up. What he does not know is that Choyob has already contacted Do-young. Soon after, Do-young storms the site and wipes out the entire gang. He finds a burial spot and digs frantically. Just in time, Solwa reaches out from beneath the dirt, and he pulls her free. It turns out she planned it all. Before heading in, she told Choyob to contact Do-young if things went wrong, keeping Kim in the dark. Later, Solwa shares a quiet meal with Do-young. She opens up about how she first met Ryu. She also reveals that she has known who Do-young really is. Suddenly, Do-young starts to feel dizzy. His drink was drugged. Unconscious, Do-young is loaded into a car. Solwa drives him to a remote lake, then sends the car into the water with him, still inside. Afterward, she confronts Kim at the agency. Disgusted by his choices, she lashes out and almost kills him, but stops herself at the last moment. On her way out, she tells Choyob to erase all the data and leave before it is too late. A few days later, Hae-ni takes the stage for her big performance. In the audience, Kong and her grandmother proudly watch, but after the show, Hae-ni is nowhere to be found. Moments later, Solwa arrives, only to be stopped by Kong. He shows her a chilling message from the kidnapper. It's from Do-young. He's alive, and he wants her to come to Happy Land. Kong wants to alert the police, but Solwa tells him to trust her. She promises to bring Hae-ni back safely. Back at home, Solwa retrieves her weapons and quietly prepares for what could be her last mission. Before leaving, she looks at her dog's bed, but it's empty. The dog has passed away. At Happy Land, a sniper opens fire on an approaching car, but it's just a decoy. Sowa enters through a separate path. Still, her cover is blown and a firefight breaks out. She's lured by a recording of someone crying for help, but quickly turns the trap on its head, swinging in on a rope and taking down Do Young's men. Then, face to face with Do Young, Sowa shields Hae-ni as another attacker lunges at her. She fights back with everything she has. Do Young grabs Hae-ni and retreats to another room. Sowa follows. She tells him he learned all the wrong lessons from life, and she's here to put an end to this. Without hesitation, Do Young attacks, and the final duel begins. As they fight, flashes from the past hit Do Young, memories of Sowa caring for him, protecting him, saving him from his abusive father.
사장님.
Meanwhile, Hae-ni manages to call the police from an old landline, but the call is short-lived because Do Young smashes the phone. Now, the truth finally surfaces. Do Young has been holding in his rage ever since the day Sowa killed his father. But that day, he also asked to go with her. She had promised he could when he grew up. In the final clash, Sowa's strike lands first. Do Young falls. S's life fades. He remembers the woman who once showed him care. His final thoughts are of her, not as a killer, but as someone he trusted. Sowa, devastated, holds him in her arms. The promise they made long ago was all he ever wanted to fulfill. Days later, she visits Ryu's family altar. She places a drawing made by Do Young next to it. And in the end, Sowa realizes her mission isn't finished. She walks away, ready to return to the shadows and continue cleaning up the filth of society. So the moral of the story is, never trust someone who says they just kill bugs. You might end up in a gunfight at an amusement park.